Well, could have been worse. It could have been worse. It rained hard from 5 o'clock to 6:15, and then they delayed the races till 7 o'clock. So it's 11:30 now. There's still a race to go. But it only rained hard for an hour. So the track was muddy, but I didn't get rained on. And by the end of the night, the track was firm. It was pretty well dry. So it definitely could have been worse. Now, talking about the horses racing tonight, we had a mixed bag of a lot of things, and all of them worth talking about. First one, Sedona Hill. She was acting up in the post-braid and being kind of rude, not unlike Sedona Hill. And the rail, I would have happily left 8 with her instead of the rail today. Rail's tough, and I get up on top of the gate coming out of the turn. I tried to bring her in slow, but as I was doubling her up, she was getting out of gear. So finally, I tried to ease her up close to the gate, and she'd up close to it and took her opportunity to make a break and get out. Now come back trotting, and when you look at her line, you can easily say, wow, 2-1, off a half and 102, but that isn't the whole story. If you look at where she started from, I had to be 6 to 8 lengths off the gate when they said go, I would imagine. Now, I haven't watched the replay, but that's how it felt to me. And if that's the case, then that was really kind of a pretty good mile. So a lot of work to do with her. Clearly needs a little bit of a martingale, and not the rail is what she needs. Now, the track was listed as sloppy at the time, so I doubt she has to requalify here, which is good. We'll get her back in to go next week. The next one, Purple People Eater. Now, Purple People Eater, historically speaking, has been a little tough to deal with. Hot training down, a little hot at the gate. But to be fair to her, the last 2 weeks she's been much better. Scored her down. The track's hard. Now it's really hard. So I don't know what she's going to be like coming up to the gate. As it turned out, the gate was walking pretty slow as we come out of the turn. And I timed her right in. I looked left. I'm like, oh, there'll be a 3-hole or something there. As we got to the turn, she got a little shuffly. And I said, you know what? Especially after Sedona had made the break, I wasn't really in a mood to do any more breaking of rule number 1. So I let her continue on to the front. As it cleared over, I just told, Elliot, come back around. And clearly either he didn't hear me or he didn't want to. But he left me alone on the front end. And, we were walking as we come out of the turn. I see the favorite coming, but he's coming like pedestrian speed. We're walking as they come to the half in like 101, I think, 31 and a piece, or 32 seconds in the second quarter. But as soon as she hears the favorite coming, and again, we get an ear hood on her too, so there's that. But as soon as she hears the horse coming, her tail pops up in the air. Now, that can be something, that can be nothing. But the fact that it was fine up until that point leads me to believe that maybe when we draw her blood tomorrow, you're going to see an elevated AST. Remember, here's a filly in the middle of breeding season, and it absolutely poured rain the first part of the night. You may say, well, Anthony, they all had to race in it. You're right, they do. But fillies, especially young fillies, especially this time of year, are much more prone to tying up. And I don't want to make excuses for any of our horses, but I would be surprised if we didn't see a little elevation in her AST. I would bet somewhere between 9 and 1100, knowing her historically, which is more than enough to put in a very lackluster outing, which she did tonight. Now, it was too late to scope her. There was nobody around. But we will draw her blood tomorrow, and we will get to the bottom of what took place with Purple People Eater. I think with Sedona, she was fractious and acting up and just being a little rude tonight. Purple wasn't. She was behaved tonight. It's tough. I wish I had the 4 or 5 hole and I could have let her float out, let somebody go and sit in the 2 hole, but it's just the way the race worked out. When you're the last one to make front and no one wants to remove, that's where you're left. So, not a great outing, but again, I'm going to give her a pass until I have a reason not to. And actually, her demeanor was pretty good heading into the start of the race, so I am more than likely just going to say, hey, in 2 days, come back to you and say, yeah, that AST was 1100, 1200, whatever. And maybe there was something else going on also. But mechanically, I wasn't disappointed with her start today. I guess stamina-wise and race-wise, I was a little disappointed. But she'll bounce back. It's not the first time I've seen her do this. Now we head into the boys. Mel Gibbs Swan. Ronnie showed up for like one drive. He had the rail. That horse made like 40 last year. And as I'm clearing off, like, and you got to understand, now, a lot went into Mel Gibbs Swan. I don't know how far you can go back when it shows the replay of the race. But as we're coming up to the gate, Mel was trying his hardest to get out. He didn't want to race at all tonight. Now, you may say, well, Anthony, that's a little unfair. That's not a dig at Mel Gibbs Swan. Mel Gibbs, something's going on with him. It's not soundness, but something is up with Mel Gibbs Swan. He is missing an entire gear, if not two. Right? There is no way the past performance lines from Mel Gibbs Swan match the horse's lines, match the horse that I raced tonight. And you can say, oh, it's his first start. It doesn't matter. He's missing. I drove him last year, too. We trained him down. I know the horse. Just something is up with him. Now, we've drawn his blood in the past, and we're going to draw it again tomorrow. I want to be able to find out. I would like to see 1 or 2 points in his blood where we can look at and say, that's the cause, or that is, that's a level that could be a reason for this. And I'm sure we will. But I'll tell you what he did do. So as I'm clearing off to the front again, I say, hey, Ronnie, come back around. He said, no, I'm good in the 2-hole. I said, okay, but I'm going to go like a half and 2, just so you know. And I just slammed the brakes on. We went 29-1, 101-1. 32 seconds in the second quarter. I let him out a little bit down the backstretch, but he really should have just trounced them, especially off those fractions. And as much as he wasn't into it tonight, as much as he's not on his game, and as much as he really wasn't that good, when push come to shove coming out of the last turn, he still held on and won the race. And that's important. There is a winner in there, right? If he just lets that horse sashay past him and finishes second, I'm telling you the same thing I'm telling you right now, only it's with a little more bitterness, a little more frustration. The horse held on to win. So he starts off his year as a winner. Not the way we thought he would. Not in the way we thought he would. Certainly not even close, but nonetheless a winner. And then we went to Sunny. There was no shot I was leaving with Sunny. A non-winners of 4 with the 8-hole coming in off a qualifier, 2-1, 2-2 in the mud. No shot I'm going out of there with him. I took him back to last. I sat last the whole way. Everybody kind of bunched up in the last turn. I just fanned him wide, and he was trotting at the wire as hard as he could. That was a wonderful first race for Irresistible Sun. Very, very impressed with his mile tonight. Looking at his physique, there is a lot better to come from this guy. We're not even scratching the surface. He's a little bit underweight. He's still got that musty, winter hair on him. He's not in peak shape right now, which is good because that means he will be peaking in July, right? June, July. It's going to take some starts to get him looking like an athlete. So I was happy with, I guess I was mildly happy with everybody tonight. Sedona Hill showed that she's got some pop. Little rude, little ignorant, but she's got some pop. Purple People Eater mechanically was good, just wasn't good tonight. Now, if everything, you can look at it and say, well, Anthony, you shouldn't have left with her, it was too hard on her. I'm sorry. I'm going to be unapologetic when it comes to that, because this is a 3-year-old that's about to start her stake races in 2 weeks. We've trained her up. We qualified her. I thought her qualifier was much better than her mile tonight. Having said that, it did rain. The track was hard, and I am fairly convinced that we're going to find that she probably tied up a little bit tonight. So mitigating that as we head to Miami Valley for her first stake race will be our number one goal. And then Sonny, I was thoroughly pleased with him. Very impressed with him tonight. Just a perfect paint-by-numbers race for him. First start back with, unfortunately, saddled with the 8-hole and the non-winners of 4. Great race by him. And Mel Gibbs Swan, a little bit of sweet and sour, right? Tried to get out of the race at the start. Ended up in the middle of the race. But when all things kind of came together and push came to shove at the head of the lane and he was faced with an opportunity to either be a winner or be a loser, he chose to be a winner. And that is actually a very good starting point for Mel Gibbs Swan. We'll get to the bottom of all this Sedona will be fine her next start. We'll get to the bottom of Purple People Eater. We'll get Mel Gibbs Swan back on track. We'll get him back going forward. And Sunny, just a great jumping off point for the 2024 season for him. So with that, I'll let you go. Now, a little update in case you guys missed it. Insider Trading is scratched tomorrow. She scoped with a lot of mucus in her training mile on Tuesday, so she'll be out tomorrow. We'll still have Pull the Shoes and Irish Ray, maybe somebody else. We get some racing at Mohawk over the next couple of days. Lots going on as usual. Now, I will tell everybody right now, we planned on video and droning this week, but Friday it looks like it's going to pour rain, and Saturday I'm in Ontario with Amy and the kids. For those of you wondering, it's Amy's birthday on Saturday, so we won't be here. So just another decent training mile for the horses here in Ohio. Things are going perfectly according to plan here in Ohio in that regard with the 2-year-olds, and Curtis isn't around. And anyway, we had splints in the curb crowd, and Danny just said, hey, we're probably going to go around 32. Do you really want to drone them? I said, you know what? That's fine. If we can't, that's not the end of the world. So no videoing or droning this week, but we will have videos for you next week. I won't be in Ontario next week, but that's okay. You guys still get to see the horses go. They've all been training very, very well in Ontario also. So the plan is to video and drone next week. A little better weather for everybody, and everybody will be dialed back up and on their toes. So that's the plan. You got a recap for tonight. You got a little sneak preview of what might or definitely is going on tomorrow, and what's going on with the babies for the rest of the week. So with that, I'll let you go. I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you had a wonderful night. It could have been a much worse night. It's a decent night. Win 2/3 and to be determined. So I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Go to bed.